Hi, everybody. Welcome to Dan on Sports. Well, Hal Steinbrenner, the owner of the New York Yankees, has really stirred up a hornet's nest over his comments about the world champion Los Angeles Dodgers, who continue to sign free agents and run up their payroll. It's something like $335 million right now, the Dodgers' payroll. $335 million and rising. They've got a luxury tax that's going to go through the roof. And you compare their payroll to the $65 million payroll of the Miami Marlins, and baseball has a problem. And Steinbrenner, in an interview, really, as I said, stirred up a hornet's nest because here he is, the owner of the rich New York Yankees, playing in the largest market in the country, and he's complaining about what's going on as far as the spending is concerned among the Los Angeles Dodgers ownership. And remember, they're owned by billionaires. So let's take a look, first of all, at what Steinbrenner said. He said, it's difficult for most of us owners to be able to do the kinds of things they're, meaning the Dodgers, are doing. We'll see if it pays off. They still have a season they still need to have a season relatively injury-free for it to work out for them. Well, that's the case with all of baseball. In case you missed it, the Dodgers have now signed Kirby Yates. So the bottom line is what Steinbrenner is saying is not even the filthy rich New York Yankees, who play in the number one market in the country, can compete at this rate with the Dodgers, owned by a hedge fund and a team which has obviously deep pockets, billions and billions of dollars. How do you compete against that? Now, Steinbrenner is getting raked over social media, and it has really, as I said, caused a firestorm. First of all, the Dodgers responded. The Dodgers responded by saying, hey, all we're trying to do is maintain our team and go out and win another World Series. We're not doing anything wrong. And the Dodgers are not doing anything wrong. I think it's safe to say they're playing by the rules. Now, there is a caveat when I say the Dodgers are not doing anything wrong. What the Dodgers are doing that I have a big problem with, and even the Toronto Blue Jays did it with their signing of Santander, they're deferring a lot of this money to get around paying even more if they exceed the luxury tax. So that's where I have a big problem with what's going on. I mean, essentially, the Dodgers ownership is saying, we've got so much wealth, we're going to defer the money on a lot of these contracts to beat the luxury tax, but there are a lot of players who also want the money deferred because they don't want to pay the California state income tax. Or in the case of Santander, they don't want to pay the tax in Toronto, which is more than what you pay for in the United States. So you've got a lot of these financial machinations taking place. So it's not just a straight, look at what the Dodgers are doing. They're playing by the rules. Yes, they are playing by the rules. I mean, when it comes to deferred contracts, they're paying by the rules. But baseball's got some long-term issues here. Now, let's take a look at what Hal Steinbrenner did not say. He did not, you notice, criticize the owner of the Mets, Steve Cohen. Did you notice that? Now, he lost out to Cohen with Juan Soto. Cohen is a multi-billionaire. He also operates a hedge fund. That's how he made his, not millions, that's how he made his billions. There was some controversy involved in that, by the way, and it's one of the reasons he was not allowed initially to become an owner of a Major League Baseball team, but he eventually overcame those objections and now is the owner of the Mets. And Cohen has indicated he wants to spend, but he's going to try and spend wisely now after being taken down the beaten path when he signed both Scherzer and Verlander and did not get an ROI, a return on investment. So he didn't mention Cohen, all right? And he didn't mention ROI, what return on investment. That's one of the big criticisms on social media as far as the New York Yankees are concerned, a return on the investment. The argument is that the Yankees are getting a big return on their investment, and that's why they're not spending like the Dodgers. Now, don't kid yourself. The Yankees are spending. They're among the biggest spenders in all of baseball. But the Yankees fans want the Yankees to spend the most. They don't want the Yankees to be second to the Dodgers or third to anybody. They want the Yankees to win the World Series year after year. And remember, they haven't won a World Series since 2009. And we all know what happened when they finally got back to the World Series this past season. That meltdown in the fifth inning of Game 5 is one for the ages. But let that go. Fact of the matter is, the Yankees fans believe that their team has a birthright to not only be in the World Series, but win the World Series every year. And now they are upset that the Dodgers are doing what the Yankees should be doing, and they believe the Yankees spend just enough. They fill their ballpark and spend just enough to field a contending team and get their return on investment without having to pay that much in the luxury tax. And the Yankees will pay a luxury tax too, just not as much as the Dodgers, nowhere near what the Dodgers are going to pay. So he didn't mention return on investment. However, there's some other things in defense of Hal. What he's bringing up should be a concern to the fans of baseball. I mean, there is no parity in baseball from the perspective of a level playing field. And that's one of the many attractions of the National Football League. They have a salary cap. So it doesn't matter if you're in New York or in Denver. The bottom line is you start out on a level playing field. Baseball does not have that. They don't have that for a number of reasons. You've got the big market teams who don't really want a level playing field. They want to be like college football, just have, 7 or 8 teams dominate the sport and let the other teams just be there to be beat up on. So baseball doesn't have a level playing field. I mean, look at the Colorado Rockies, and I can speak from some experience here, being a broadcaster for the Hartford Yard Goats. They are the Double-A affiliate of the Colorado Rockies. Rockies ownership has money. You got to have money to own a Major League Baseball team. Don't kid yourself. But you can't keep going out spending recklessly or taking chances on contracts the way the Dodgers do because, you might be a multimillionaire, but you can't compete with a multi-billionaire. It's simple economics. And it's not right. I mean, and I'm not complaining here or saying it's sour grapes because the Rockies have had their issues. They work hard. They have a lot of talent in that organization. There are a lot of talented coaches, managers, executives within that administration who are really working hard to field not only a competitive team, but a team that can eventually win the World Series. But my goodness, it's like climbing up a hill and then sliding back, and then climbing up a hill and getting a bit higher and sliding back. And the Rockies are just one example. There's other teams too. And baseball has got to address that issue. Or if you're a fan of the Cincinnati Reds and your team is out of it by the middle of May, you're not going to pay attention to baseball. This is one of the reasons, by the way, baseball has become a regional sport, whereas the National Football League is a national sport. It's a worldwide sport. Baseball has got to level the playing field, and revenue is going to be an issue. So again, in defense of Hal, who obviously makes more money from his television contract than he owns a TV network, yes, but obviously bringing in more revenue than, let's say, again, the Colorado Rockies. And that's an issue because that blueprint of teams gaining revenue from their TV contracts or from the regional networks that they own is going to change. That blueprint is beginning to crumble. And then what does baseball do? You already see what the Texas Rangers are doing. They're coming up with a very novel approach as far as their television games. They're going to actually televise games over the air. What a concept. You got an antenna, you can pick up Rangers games. Not all of them. Some. The rest are going to be, guess what? Streamed. That's right, streamed. You want to watch a Rangers game? Here you go. Watch it right here on television. You want to watch on your phone. Not on television per se, but on your phone. Incidentally, you can, on most of these phones, you can take the picture and just forward it to your TV screen and watch it that way. But it's all going to be streaming. That's what the game is going to become. But here's the thing. Fans are not going to pay the kind of money they're paying now through cable television packages to watch a baseball game. And these cable companies are very clever how they package the sports networks. So if you're, let's say, a Red Sox fan, but you could care less about the Boston Bruins in order to follow the Red Sox, or for that matter, even if you're not a Celtics fan, in order to follow the Red Sox, you've got to subscribe to a cable television package that is not a la carte, that includes other sports channels, like the regional channel that carries the Celtics games and the regional channel that carries the Bruins and the Red Sox. There's no a la carte. Well, streaming is going to change that. That's what the Texas Rangers are doing. But you're not going to get the kind of revenue that you're getting now. And the system is on the verge of collapse. It really is. And fans should be very, very concerned. And the game itself, the ownership, the players should be very, very concerned with what's going on. My point is, you can't be dismissive of Hal Steinbrenner's comments, even though he owns the New York Yankees, and it's now sounding as if he's crying sour grapes because there are owners out there richer than he is, and there are. Like, as I said, the owners of the Los Angeles Dodgers and the crosstown New York Mets. So this is going to be a very interesting situation. Baseball, my opinion, needs a salary cap. And that's the problem. The Players Association, they're not in favor of a salary cap, not in favor of a salary cap at all. And I think you are going to see a big, big problem when the next labor negotiations start. This current contract between the owners and the Major League Baseball Players Association runs out after the 2026 season. And more owners, and you've got to read between the lines on Hal Steinbrenner's comments, more and more owners want a salary cap to bring the whole structure of baseball back into line. A lot of these owners, hey, I mean, you read between the lines of what Steinbrenner's saying, a lot of these owners are upset at the Dodgers and to a degree upset with Steve Cohen. And they want to bring the game back into balance. And I think they're willing to go to the mat in order to get a salary cap. So my point is, you might want to enjoy baseball the next 2 seasons because there might not be baseball for a while after the 2026 season because of all that's taking place. The streaming, these regional television networks that are in big-time trouble, the spending by these billionaire owners or the multi-billionaire owners. I mean, think about this. Hal Steinbrenner, I don't know what he's worth, but he's got to be worth hundreds of millions. Well, if you look at the value of the New York Yankees, he's a billionaire. He could sell the Yankees tomorrow for what, $10 billion? But is he willing to go out and continue to spend and compete with the Dodgers in that way? So look for what I believe is going to be a labor struggle after the 2026 season. And don't be dismissive, as a lot of Yankees fans are, particularly on social media, of Hal Steinbrenner's comments. There are some people, in fact, there are a lot of people who are upset with how Steinbrenner has led the Yankees. We keep hearing, well, he's not like his father. His father never would have put up with this. His father would have never put up with that. His father fired a lot of managers, too, and there were a lot of players who did not want to play in New York. They didn't want to play in New York because of the boss. But Steinbrenner makes a lot of good points. Even though there are Yankees fans upset, he doesn't spend, in their opinion, enough money. Watch out. This is going to gain a lot of traction, and baseball is headed for a big labor dispute after the 2026 season unless they can straighten this situation out, and it needs to be straightened out. That's going to do it for Dan on Sports. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing to the channel. Be sure to subscribe to my newsletter, and you can do that by going to sportscasterdan.com.